What's up, you guys? I'm here with a new video today, and we're here to do the next episode of How to Beat This Deck, and we are doing it on Altergeist. I know a lot of you have been requesting this. I posted in the community tab, and you guys definitely want to hear my opinions on Altergeist and how to beat this deck. The deck has basically just come out of the woodworks after FLOD was released with the new cards like Multi-Faker and whatnot. It really, sent the deck into the ability to be played and has been having a lot of success next to Go Keys, which will be another episode. My teammate and my good friend Tristan even got first place at the Seattle Regionals. You guys have seen that deck profile here on the channel. Playing the deck, a lot of people don't know what it does. It's actually a pretty stunny deck. It plays a lot of traps. But our main focus today is going to be talking about the main Altergeist cards, what they do, and how to beat the deck overall. I talked to him personally, so he has given me some insight from an Altergeist player's perspective of what actually beats the deck. So this will be really important for those of you that have been following this series and play against this deck at locals, regionals, and upcoming YCSs. This is going to be your best bet for strategizing against the deck. So we're going to get into the basics of it. We'll start with the monsters. So the main monsters that Altergeist play, they start with Altergeist Marionetter. One thing about this is they're all spellcasters, so they do play cards like Rivalry of the Warlords. For those of you that don't know, Marionetter is when this card is normal summoned, you can set one Altergeist trap directly from your deck to your spell and trap zone. That's really cool, so summon it and set a trap. That's pretty cool. And then you can target one Altergeist card you control and one Altergeist monster in your graveyard, send that card on the field to the graveyard, and if you do special summon that other monster from your graveyard. So basically, you can just trade out one card on the field for one card in your graveyard, so that's pretty cool. It usually uses the effect once per turn. So that's Marionetter. That's like one of the main ones. You summon it, you get your traps rolling, from the deck. And then there's Multi-Seek, Altergeist Multi-Seek. This card, it can attack directly, which is cool. And when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target one card your opponent controls, send it to the graveyard. That effect is really relevant. I like the fact that it sends, it doesn't destroy. So that's really important for just certain cards being able to send them to the graveyard because they might trigger when they're destroyed. So that's pretty cool. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add one Altergeist monster from your deck to your hand except itself. So basically, what you do is you just link away with this into Hexia, and then you just add another Altergeist card. So that's pretty cool. Altergeist monster. So I really like that. That's really versatile with this card. That's your level 1 guy. And then you have the new guy, the one that has sent the ball over and has made the deck really good, and that is Altergeist Multi-Faker. So the way this works is if you activate a trap card except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. This card is special summoned. You can special summon one Altergeist monster from your deck in defense position except Altergeist Multi-Faker. You can't special summon any monsters this turn. You activate this effect except Altergeist monsters. You can only use the effect once per turn. So basically, you can use this with impermanence, and basically you just use this, and then you can bring out the other Altergeist monster, which is Altergeist I guess it's Siliquidos. Not sure if I said that right, but Altergeist Siliquidos. And this card has a quick effect. This card is Kieran, you guys. When we all know how much we love Kieran, so this effect is you can return one Altergeist card you control to the hand, then target one card your opponent controls, return it to the hand. That's pretty crazy. You can just return the Multi-Faker. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target one Altergeist trap in your graveyard, add that card to your hand. You can only use the effect once per turn. So that's pretty crazy. You link away with this, and you just you recycle your traps. So this card is basically your Kieran. So basically, it puts up almost in a sense a negate. I think that's really cool. That's what the basic Altergeist monsters do. Just going through them, the main 4, and then we'll just talk real quick about their link monsters. So all I've seen in most lists is they only play one link monster, and that's Altergeist Hexia. And Hexia it takes 2 Altergeist monsters. It's a link 2. It points to the right and down, and it just gains attack equal to the original attack of each Altergeist monster it points to. When a spell or trap is activated, this is a quick effect. You contribute one Altergeist monster this card points to, negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card. So basically, it's just another negate. And then if this card you tribute this, and then if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, again, they all have this effect when they go to the graveyard. You can add one Altergeist card from your deck to your hand. So that's pretty cool. So even if you link away with this, you just get more resources. So that's one thing if you notice about this deck, you guys, is it doesn't really run out of resources. It doesn't really run out of steam. It can recycle itself and kind of cycle back to its starting point and then keep going, playing all the traps that it does. So these cards are just really, really solid. That's it for the main monsters. And then for their main traps, their spells, if you guys have seen any of the deck lists, their spells are very minimal. They play cards like Pot of Duality, Scapegoat, not really too many other cards, but that's what a lot of people are playing is Pot of Duality and Scapegoat because Scapegoat gives you the versatility to make your links, and then Pot of Duality, you don't really special summon in this deck, so that's what the card does. So it's really solid. But we'll get into their traps, because their traps are, you know, basically another win condition that this deck has. So we'll start with Altergeist Manifestation. This is basically their Call to Haunted. You target one Altergeist monster in your graveyard, special summon it in an attack position, and equip it with this card. When this card leaves the field, destroy that monster. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Altergeist trap in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So that's pretty cool. So even if this card leaves the field, you know, it has added versatility later in the game where you banish it and you add one of the cards to your hand, and you can only use the effect once per turn. But that's still really cool. Being able to recycle your guys, which is going to happen because you do link them away into Hexia or other links. So I think that this card's pretty cool. Again, Tristan's list was very to the point. He played only 2 copies of each of these traps I'm going to be talking about. And again, I'll link that profile at the end of the in the description and at the end of the video for you guys to watch. I think that's the best thing to watch in tandem with this video, because it will give you the more like general idea of how the deck plays, and you know, after this video you'll know how to combat against it. So that's for Altergeist Manifestation. The next one is your Altergeist Protocol. I read this card and I thought this card was nuts. Like, to tell you the honest truth, I thought this card was crazy. The activation effects of Altergeist cards activated on the field cannot be negated. That first line was just like, what? Like, you can't do anything to them. That's crazy. When your opponent activates a monster effect, you can send one other face-up Altergeist card you control to the graveyard, negate the activation. If you do, destroy it. So basically, this is another negate. If you guys are noticing, they build on negates. Hexia becomes a negate. Protocol becomes a negate. The Kirin. So they have like a Kirin interruption, 2 negates with Protocol and Hexia, and then you're just kind of left on low resources when it comes to you know, playing against this deck. But one thing about these traps, again, is traps are slow, you guys. Traps are a slow deck, and that's why Altergeist want to go first, because a lot of times, you know, you got to get your traps rolling. You have to wait a turn to activate them, and this is a card that you need, you know, even if you can set it, you need to be able to get it face up on the field, because this makes it so where your stuff goes off and your opponent can't do anything. But I think this card is really cool. Again, I can see, you know, just after reading these cards, why he only played 2 copies of each, so that he wasn't you know, he wasn't overpacking his deck with cards that took, you know, a turn or 2 to activate. So that's Altergeist Protocol. And then the last one we're going to talk about is Personal Spoofing. This is another continuous trap. Once per turn, you can shuffle one Altergeist card from your hand or face from your field into the main deck to add an Altergeist monster from your deck to your hand. So basically, you can look at this card kind of like a mulligan. Basically, you can just shuffle back a card that you don't want in your hand or on the field, and just, you know, cycle to get another monster. That's pretty cool. A lot of people, I've seen some people play 3 of this, some people play 2 of this. Again, 2 might be the right number. I think, you know, there has been multiple tops with the deck, so you guys can watch those deck profiles, but I feel personally Tristan's build was really on point, going undefeated at a regional, you know, in the last format, and even going into this new format. I mean, he had to combat against full power True Draco, etc. So take that for what it's worth. I think that's really important that you guys look into that. But overall, that's the Altergeist cards. So now we've talked about pretty much, you know, how they play. There's not that many cards for the deck. The cards, you know, they range around Hexia, like I already mentioned, and then all the traps, and then the monsters. Now we're going to go into like the main reasons, you know, this deck is starting to see a lot more play, is because with the inclusion of Multi-Faker, it's brought the deck into like a new, you know, kind of dimension, and more people are starting to play the deck. And you guys will see, you'll definitely probably see it at the next YCS, which is Jersey, and most likely at Nationals. It's a really good just anti-meta strategy as well, which I really like about the deck. I think that any deck that can play a lot of traps, you guys already know from back in the Dino Rabbit days to all the stun decks we've played, that it can really just like kind of cripple the opponent, because the opponent will be lower on resources and not be able to do anything. So now that we've talked about all the cards, we're going to talk about, okay, now how do we beat this deck? The main reason you guys are here is how do we beat this deck? So I talked to Tristan personally about this, and this is coming directly from him, you guys. So this is, you know, also knowledge that I've learned from him, and this will be something that I think you guys can take away from the video, and I think it's really important. So one of the main things he said is you want to Ghost Ogre the traps. Now when you think about that, remember, Protocol is face up as well as Personal Spoofing. They activate while face up on the field. Well, the beauty of Ghost Ogre is that it can pop those cards. It gets those off the field, and you by doing that, you know, they're down on their resources. Those continuous traps of spoofing and protocol are really important, because getting protocol off the board is really good, because then you can actually combat against their cards. So that's pretty solid. Another thing he said is Ghost Ogre again. You can Ghost Ogre the multi-faker to apply pressure to the opponent, because then the multi-faker is gone, and then that makes it to where they're down on resources. So Ghost Ogre is really showing as kind of like an all-star hand trap. Now, I know the format is still shaping up because Brandish still have to come into the loop, but Ghost Ogre was a card that people kind of were putting to the side because Pendulum Magicians got hit so hard. But I think we'll start to see a little more resurgence of Ghost Ogre, as it is a versatile hand trap and really good against this deck. So that was one of the cards. Another card that he talked about, of course, is Ash Blossom. Basically, you Ash Blossom the multi-faker on summon if they don't have protocol, because you guys already know protocol, you can't do anything. So basically, if they're starting with that, they don't have the protocol, well, you just Ash it, and then they're, down again, another resource. You traded with your Ash for their multi-faker effect. So that's really important. Again, hand traps have, pretty much been the main way we combat every format. And again, this format is no different. And against Altergeist, different hand traps have different applications. So I really like that Ash and Ogre are still versatile against this deck. So stuff like that. And then pretty standard stuff too. Another card that's actually just really good against the deck is Denko Sekka. I think a lot of people forgot about Denko Sekka because of Paleo. I think since Paleo weren't performing that well, a lot of people put Denko to the side and didn't even side it or really include it in any other decks. But Denko Sekka, he said, is another just really good card. Lock down all their back row, you guys. What are they going to do? You lock down all their back row before they flip it. I mean, there's nothing you can do. You're free to make your plays, and it's just really solid. So Denko Sekka is just another option, you guys, for going second. If they don't flip anything up or whatever, just summon your Denko Sekka and, just do your thing. You guys already know how it was against Paleo. Pretty much the same application against Altergeist. So yeah, so Denko Sekka's in there. Other things we can talk about. So the most, I guess, standard way to get around this deck, and you guys should know this, is back row removal. Now, back row removal has been around since the beginning of Yu-Gi-Oh! And stuff like that. It's pretty standard. We can go as simple as Mystical Space Typhoon, or we can go Cosmic Cyclone, or we can go Twin Twister. The main thing that really is important is that you make them pay the cost of any of their traps, and then you chain your removal, and it makes them neg really hard. That was straight from Tristan. So basically, Protocol or any of the ones that you shuffle back to do whatever, they pay the cost. Well, you hit them with Twin Twister, you hit them with Mystical Space Typhoon, you hit them with Cosmic Cyclone, they're really just out of luck. Another card that's really going to shine, and it was a card that I personally played, and Johnny played, Denny, we all played at YCS Memphis, and that card was Heavy Storm Duster. I really like this card, you guys. It's a trap. Being able to just hit 2 cards, you don't have to discard, is really cool. You're usually using it on your opponent's turn, so you're not in battle phase, so that other effect doesn't really matter. But Tristan even mentioned this card to me in what we were talking about, and this is just another form of removal that's just really solid. You can use 1 trap to take out 2 of their traps, and that's really cool. Another thing you guys will notice about this deck, the reason why back row removal is so important, and we're emphasizing it here in this video, is because they play Floodgates, you guys. They play Anti-Spell Fragrance and Rivalry of the Warlords, and those cards are nuts. Rivalry, they're all spellcasters. They could care less, and Rivalry and Strike, like any real traps, will break any board. Anti-Spell Fragrance is still insane. That card was nuts against Pendulum Magicians. It locked them out of playing the game completely, and now it's going to be really good against Brandish, because Brandish needs to be able to activate their cards. Well, you flip Anti-Spell Fragrance, their best play is to summon Ray, and do what, honestly? They might be able to make the water one, but after that they just add a card and they just kind of pass because they don't really play too many aggressive traps, or if any at all. So basically, Anti-Spell Fragrance is going to be another all-star this format, and another crazy Floodgate that didn't get hit, because this card is going to really hinder a lot of decks that rely on spells. And you guys already know how good Anti-Spell is against Invoked, against any of the decks that play heavy spells in their decks. So that's another reason why back row removal is so important. Being able to get rid of those traps is insane. Another card you guys can play if you want is a card like Trap Eater. That is kind of a little more to the point as to where it will get rid of a problematic Floodgate as cost to summon it, but I don't know if that card will be included as much. It was used against True Draco because of the ability to use it and then make Abeels against them. I don't know if that same application will be here with Altergeist, but I feel like it's definitely something to consider. I feel that any of these good back row removal cards we talked about, Typhoon, Mystical Space Typhoon, or even Trap Typhoon, and Twin Twisters, Cosmic Cyclone, Heavy Storm Duster. I feel all these cards are just really good because they do, like Tristan said, they do interrupt what Altergeist are trying to accomplish, and I feel that that's really important. So it's pretty standard stuff when you think about it. They are a back row deck. Think of the deck as like an anti-meta deck that just plays a lot of back row, and the way you play against those decks, you guys already know, is to get rid of the back row and just start picking away at the monsters and interrupt any of the plays they're trying to do. So yeah, that's pretty much it, you guys. That's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about, like how to beat Altergeist. It's a lot more straight into the point than I think people think, and I think that this video gave you guys the insight you guys need. We'll definitely be doing an episode on Goki and to do more research and talk to more Goki players. I feel that going forward, I'll be talking to like players that do really well with the deck and perform really well with the deck to get their personal opinion, because having played the deck, they know the best of what beats the deck. So yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to smash that like button. Be sure to check us out on Facebook, Team Dank Deals. Link is down below. We're just trying to get up to 200 likes. We'll be doing a giveaway soon. Be sure to check out my Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. All that information will be included there as well. Definitely check the Twitter, because we're going to be linking a lot of the videos and a lot of the giveaway information, not only through Facebook and our page and Twitter, but through all the other social medias. So be sure to, just keep up on that. Let me know, besides Goki's, the next how to beat this deck you guys would like to see. I already know Brandish is going to be requested. Don't even worry. Brandish and Goki are definitely coming. But if there's any decks that haven't been really talked about that need to be talked about going into this new format, let me know and I'll definitely include them here on the series. But again, thank you, Tristan. You gave me an amazing insight for this video. He continues to just perform really well with pretty much every deck he picks up. So his information was just really versatile and really important for this video. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.